Hey there guys, Boomfish TCG here, back at it again with another video. This time we're looking at Sword Midrange. I'm gonna be honest, didn't know this was a deck. And you might not have either. It seems like Japan is really cool or it seems like Japan really likes to try and innovate these very specific strategies. Maybe not in their list like diversity when it comes to like the meta decks, but like there's quite a few decks on like the Google document, which I'll post in the description, that demonstrates like mid-range sword. I think I saw mid-range forest, and I think there was one more. But that's just really cool because they don't have a dedicated like strategy outside of just building a really solid mid-range deck, which I'm all for actually. I think that's really sweet. So, like with Wasteland Sword, there's a lot of crossover with this deck, but they've tweaked some ratios and have some different strategies. So, we're going to start off with Bumpkin Recruit. Same as that previous deck, Wasteland Sword. You are a board based strategy. So, them having to clear this, you're just happy with. And them having to board clear you, and this is on the field, you're also happy with. And that's going to happen a lot. So, honestly, a really solid card. Even though that's a 1/1, don't underestimate it. You're always happy when this thing dies. You have Celia, another 3 of, another easy explanation of simply just board tempo and token generation when you evo it. And in the late game, you get the storm aspect of it, so you really are happy with what this card does for your deck. It's just really flexible. You have Knott's Henchman, so exact same purpose that you've had with, let's say, Wasteland Sword. You get that aspect in Knott's Henchman. It costs 1 less if you play it from your EX, which Knot allows you to put there in the first place. And then if you have Knot, and you play this card, you draw a card. So it cycles itself out. That's really nice. And I'm a huge fan of this card. Not only that it pisses me off that it plays itself for free, but it's really broken. And it's if you have to hard play it, oh boo-hoo, you have a 1 mana 2/2, which is exactly what your deck wants, so say less. Here you have Penguin Guardian, a brand new card as of set 15, and a 1 mana 1/3 ward. So outside of Snake Priestess, I think this is like a unique thing that they've started doing, where you now have a 1 mana 1/3 ward. If you play Hearthstone, that's Void Walker, I think. And you have that plus upside. You can evo it if you need it. Probably not going to do that. And if you're playing this late game, it can now be a 3/5 ward for 4, which is just under being decent. So yeah, just really good. It's got the stats to survive early board clears that deal like 2 damage, let's say, and certainly not bad. So I like him. He's a fan. I like him. I'm a fan. Then you have Serration Wave. So this is a Kagemitsu synergy card. You can choose up to 2. You can select something, ping it for 2. It's not a quick. Or you get to select a Kagemitsu Lost Samurai on the field, and you put a fighting counter on it. So that inherently provides you with an endgame strategy with Kagemitsu. You only play 1 because it's not that incredible, but like it's cool, and you can put it there because of Not. So don't complain about it. Really cool. Then you have Supersonic Breakthrough. This deck, more than any of the other ones that I've covered so far, plays 6 Ralmias in it. So yeah, you're playing this card and you're liking it. 3's probably a little bit overkill, and I think I get why they're only playing it at 2, but not the worst thing to commit to. But searching Ralmia is like most of what this deck's trying to do, so great. You're also fine with playing this for the additional +4 effect where you summon 2 differently named followers with Ralmia in their names. Yeah, so not bad, and inherent synergy, so really cool. Um, moving on, we have um, Alice, which you might not be very familiar with playing this in a sword deck. But let me tell you, the fact that not only is this a 2 mana 2/3 that draws the card, and not only do you get to bounce something if this comes from not the hand, so from deck, from grave, from EX, and you get to put something back into their EX, but, and I'll spoil it a little bit soon, we have Knight Neelan the Lazy, a really, really cool synergy card that came out in BP10. Um, I've always had my eye on this guy because if you see, each follower with one attack has aura, so it protects your little guys, and like your tokens that you generate or whatever. And then you get to choose one of two, so you get to ping something for 3. Bah, meh, who cares? But the really cool thing is you summon a Fable follower from your deck that costs 2 or less, and summon it. That is Alice. You get the secondary effect. You draw a card. You put something back in their EX. Incredible piece of synergy here, and I'm very happy to see someone's abusing it. So, yeah, really, really cool. You only play 2 because like this is a 4 mana play, so you're not gonna get access to that bonus part. But like, when you do, you're really happy. So, yeah, keep an eye on that. That's really cool. You have Kagemitsu, which in this deck you're playing 3 of because you're trying to abuse a lot of these new cards and new strategies, and I think you're justified in doing so. So Kagemitsu is a 2 mana 2/2 rush. When it dies, you put in EX. Whatever you evo, you put a fighting counter on this card. And if you have 2, when you summon this card, when you have 2, it allows you to summon it, so you can play it. And then if you do, you evo it. So there's a condition. And you do have to pay for when you play it. So when you evo it, it turns into this thing where, yet again, the first effect is basically useless. I don't understand why you would ever do that unless you were forced to. But the secondary effect is actually pretty crazy. And the more I consider it, I think 5 is actually pretty reasonable to get to. But it will take a bit. And I guess the only thing that I would have to say is having multiple Kagemitsus just stuck in your EX because we're playing 3 of it sounds pretty bad. And imagine if you saw 3 of these early, they all died, and then you have 3 Kagemitsu stuck in your EX. This deck might not care that much, but it's... I guess it looks a little bit funny, but if you're playing another deck, that's why they probably don't play it at a higher ratio, because eventually you start to regret playing this card. But a really cool payoff. Oh. But a really cool payoff. Here we, here's our friend, our local neighborhood watchman, our guy securing the back door when we go in the building. Leod, my guy, is always here for you. At 3, no less. Yeah, I'm tired of Leod. Man, just leave me alone. But he's good. I'm not going to complain about him. But God, just put him at 1 or something. My goodness. New Realmia, a decent card. It's not that incredible, I'm going to be honest. But since this deck likes to zoo out so much, it really likes to push the problem of putting a bunch of bodies on the board, you're going to get that upside. And when you do, you're going to be decently happy. 2's not going to end the world, but like there's a lot of strong cards these days that just don't have a lot of high health. And imagine if you did 2 of these in 1 turn. 4 damage to the board for free is pretty strong. So yeah, just good. There's nothing to be mad about this card, but like I don't think it's broken. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. A card that is broken and will always be is Realmia Sonic Racer. And trust me when I say this deck's gonna abuse the fact that this thing can evo for free so much. Um, and when you do evo it for free, because it reduces its cost by one for every other follower on your field, it has rush by default. You get to bring out a 4/3 storm with upside if you pay for it. So this thing can get some really high numbers and stats and can really end the game easily, I might add. Another cute card in here is Confront Adversity. Um, so you pay 2 for this. You summon a Shield Guardian and a Knight. So one has ward, one doesn't. That's what you want to consider. And if there's enemy followers that cost at least 6 play points on the field. So if this is in the later game and you're kind of playing this as filler, well, let me tell you, it's not filler anymore. You're summoning 2 4/4s and one of them has ward, and this thing effectively costs 0. Naturally, he's only playing one of it because, like, in instances where you actually have to pay for this, it's really bad, actually. Like, really bad. But considering that this is this is an officer card and means it's technically searchable, I think it's a wonderful card to just stick in your hand and just wait for the late game. And when you do, you are not mad at all that you get to play that for free. So it plays really well into your Realmia endgames. So yeah, really cool. I've known about this card for a while, but it's really cool to see someone actually trying to abuse it. Um, Next we have Mars, a card that also, when it came out, I thought was really cool, but did not see the most success because I think BP4 wasn't the most incredible sword set. But so when an officer follower is put onto the field, you give it +1 attack. Cool. It's a free effect, and board buffing previously, or buffing in general, was pretty rare. Let's say back in like BP4. Now it's decently common. And when you Evo, basically you pay X, and there's a reason. This is the reason why it costs 0 to Evo. And you search your deck for an officer follower that costs X play points or less and put it onto the field. X equals the number of your choice. And then it has the same effect. So let's say you're playing this on turn 4. Pretty decent. Being able to grab one of your 1-cost followers, even though that they might not be the craziest things in the world, sometimes you're just summoning a really solid guy helping you swarm out your board, try to prepare you, and in the late game, you get some really cool options. It says any, right? It doesn't really have a restriction as long as you're paying enough mana for it. And if we're looking at some of the higher cost options, that's a commander, so that's not an option. This is an officer. So let's say you're paying for 7. You get to summon this guy out, and then he brings out a Alice, bounces something back. That's a pretty decent turn. And that's a commander. That's a commander. So, like, you don't have the most bountiful options to pick from, but the majority of your deck falls under that line. So it really just helps you swarm. And you get a Kagemitsu from the deck. That's not bad. It sets up your late game. So that's nice. And the buff is quite cool. Now you get Aether, Warrior Wing. This is cool because this card genuinely searches your entire deck. And if you have the end phase like condition of having 7 followers in your grave, that's cool. And you're probably going to get that most of the time, considering you're swarming so much. If you put cards on the field, your opponent will either remove them or attempt to remove them. And since we're doing that so often, 7 is a cheap price to get to give a whole board buff, mind you, which your deck would love. So you're playing 2 of it because 3's asking a little bit much, but considering that it searches your entire deck, I think that's a reasonable thing. And I am a big fan of Aether. And glad to see it back because you do not see that in the rest of the other sword decks that I've showed up so far. So really quite cute. Now we are on to the 4 costs. So we have Amelia. You've seen it in other lists, and it really does pay off here. So it's a cool deck. It's a cool card in the deck as well. Whenever an officer follower is put on the field, you ping, not once per turn. And for 0 mana, you may summon another officer follower from hand or EX. The coolest part about that is if you've met the condition for Kagemitsu, you get to summon him and evo him for free. So I think that's really cool. And probably the most unique aspect of sword decks at this point is this for 4 mana essentially provides you with your endgame, and if you get there, that's 8 damage to the face, and you ping something for 3. And you also essentially board clear them before anything happens. So I'm really starting to like the idea of Kagemitsu. So yeah, I think that's really cool. I already told you that I really like Nealon the Lazy, and I think his effect is really sweet. Being able to bring out Alice from the deck is nothing small, so consider that a real positive. And a real reason to play this in the deck. As putting 3 of this in your deck is a little bit much to ask because you simply have higher quality cards to be running at 3, but still a really cool card. Not is part of the strategy, right? You have the main aspect of it of tapping a card and making it useless. But since in this case you get to put a card on the field and generate a body for free, which draws you a card, that helps you towards your Ralmia endgame. And that's what you should be focusing on. But in the situations where you don't have a Ralmia, my friend, you can grab them anytime you want. And that's really cool, I must add. I think that's really sweet. So, stellar card to be playing in this. Sword Flash Panther. Decent card. Like, as much as I love this card, and I really do, at this point, the highest ratio you're going to be seeing him is this flavorful 1 in a list. But when you do, this card you will actually love every time you see him at that 1 ratio, because playing him, you're going to be staring at, oh, what can I bring back? Ralmia every time. Give this thing an inherent +1 attack, so when you evo it, it's got 5. That's really strong, and I think my favorite aspect of it. You can grab a lot of cards from the grave, but the one you're going to be staring at the most, I think, is going to be that Ralmia, which is awesome. And considering that it's a commander, this is another piece that you're going to be able to look at, grab with Aether, and prepare for, you do your first Ralmia turn, evo hit them in the face. Now you do your second Ralmia turn by playing Sword Flash Panther after you've established the board, giving it that extra attack, hitting them in the face. I really like that. So yeah, that's my favorite card. Second favorite card in this list with Nealon. But a very cool deck. Very, very cool deck. I don't necessarily think it's the strongest thing in the world, but it uses so many of the new cards that we have access to and a lot of old synergies that I like it. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 because, like, it's truly just okay, but I encourage people to play this. I think this one's going to be a lot of fun. If we take out the mental aspect that we're going to have to be playing up against Festive and Thief and Handless and all that nonsense, but very cool deck. So with that, that's 3 Boomfish out of 5. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.